fear in Forex. Master it or be crushed. Fear isn't your enemy. It's the only thing keeping you from blowing your account faster than a bad trade. If you're stepping into the Forex market, heart pounding, palms sweaty, terrified of losing your hard-earned cash, good. That fear, it's not a weakness. It's your brain screaming at you to stay sharp, to not throw your money into the abyss. But here's the cold, hard truth. If you let that fear run the show, you're done. You'll freeze, overthink, or worse, make panic-driven trades that tank your account. The difference between a trader who survives and one who thrives, it's not about killing fear, it's about putting a leash on it. This video isn't here to hold your hand or tell you it's all gonna be okay. We're diving deep, real deep into why fear exists in trading, why it's actually a good thing at first, and how to bend it to your will so you can trade like you've got ice in your veins. Buckle up, because we're breaking this down with zero fluff, zero stories, just raw, unfiltered analysis. Let's rip into it. Fear of losing money in Forex is as natural as breathing. You worked your ass off for that capital. Every dollar in your account is tied to hours of grind, sacrifices, maybe even dreams of financial freedom. So when you see those charts spiking and dipping, you're gut twists. That's not cowardice, that's instinct. Your brain is wired to protect you. Back in the day, fear kept humans from getting eaten by lions. In trading, it's what stops you from YOLOing your entire account on a single EURUS trade. But don't get it twisted. Just because fear is natural doesn't mean it's always your friend. It's a double-edged sword. On one side, it forces you to think twice, to check your analysis, to not bet the farm on a whim. On the other, if you let it fester, it'll paralyze you. You'll second-guess every move, miss entries, or worse, bail on trades too early, and leave profits on the table. The goal isn't to stop being scared. That's a pipe dream. The goal is to make fear your advisor, not your boss. How? It starts with understanding that fear isn't a sign you're unfit for trading. Too many newbies think they're not cut out for this because their stomach churns when they hit the buy button. Wrong. Every trader, every single one feels that at some point. The pros, they've just learned to keep it in check. They don't let fear call the shots. And that's where the real work begins. Here's the first gut punch. Stop trying to overcome fear, like it's some dragon you need to slay. That's a waste of energy. Fear is part of the game. It's like gravity, you don't get rid of it. You learn to work with it. When you're new to Forex, that fear of losing money is louder because everything feels like a gamble. Every trade feels like you're tossing your savings into a slot machine. But that's just your brain adjusting to the stakes. Accepting fear means you stop beating yourself up for feeling it. You don't need to be fearless to trade well. You just need to be disciplined. Think of fear like a warning light on your car's dashboard. It's telling you something's up. Maybe you're risking too much. Maybe your strategy's shaky. Listen to it, but don't let it slam on the brakes. The sooner you make peace with fear being part of the process, the sooner you can focus on what actually matters, making calculated moves. One of the fastest ways to tame fear is to trade small. Yeah, I know. It's not sexy. You want to swing for the fences, make bank, key your job, and sip cocktails on a yacht. Slow down. Hot shot. Big dreams are great. But big bets when you're green, that's how accounts get vaporized. Start with a small position size and keep your leverage low. Why? Because high leverage is like strapping a rocket to your account. It'll either launch you to the moon or blow you to smithereens. A tiny price swing with high leverage can wipe out your capital before you even blink. Low leverage, small positions, they give you breathing room. You can watch the market move without feeling like your entire life is on the line. This isn't just about protecting your money, it's about protecting your headspace. When you trade small, the emotional weight of each trade shrinks. A loss stings. Sure, but it doesn't feel like the end of the world. That's critical, because fear thrives on high stakes. Lower the stakes, and you lower the fear. You're not trying to get rich overnight. You're trying to stay in the game long enough to get good. If you're not using stop losses, you're not trading, you're gambling. A stop loss is your safety net. It's the line in the sand that says, this is how much I'm willing to lose, and not a cent more. Set it at a price level that makes sense based on your analysis. And then here's the kicker. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't move it when the market starts creeping toward it. That's fear talking, and fear will screw you every time. A stop loss does two things. First, it caps your risk. You know exactly how much you're putting on the line before you even enter the trade. That alone can quiet the panic in your brain. Second, it forces you to think strategically. You have to analyze the market. Pick a level that aligns with your plan and stick to it. That's discipline in action. And discipline is what separates the traders who make it from the ones who crash and burn. But here's where most people mess up. They set a stop loss and then second guess it. The market gets close. Fear kicks in, and suddenly, they're sliding that stop loss further out, hoping for a miracle. Spoiler, miracles don't happen in Forex. The market doesn't care about your feelings. Stick to your stop loss, and you'll sleep better at night. Trading without a system is like driving blindfolded. You might get lucky once or twice, but you're gonna crash eventually. A solid trading system gives you rules, clear, non-negotiable rules about when to enter, when to exit, and how much to risk. It's your roadmap through the chaos of the market. Your system should cover everything: the patterns you trade, your entry and exit signals, your risk-to-reward ratio. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it has to be consistent. Why? Because a system takes emotion out of the equation. When fear starts whispering, "Don't take that trade, you'll lose everything," your system says, "Shut up, this is a valid setup." And you listen to the system, not the fear. Building a system takes time. You need to test it, tweak it, make sure it fits the way you trade. But once you've got it, follow it like it's the law. No deviations, no good feelings, no chasing shiny new strategies because you're scared your current one's failing. A system isn't just a tool, it's your shield against the emotional roller coaster of trading. Let's get real. Trading is 20% strategy and 80% psychology. You can have the best system in the world, but if your head's a mess, you're toast. Fear doesn't just make you hesitate, it makes you reckless. You'll overtrade to chase losses, cut winners too early, or skip trades because you're too scared to pull the trigger. That's why controlling your emotions is non-negotiable. Emotional control doesn't mean turning into a robot. It means recognizing when fear is creeping in and having tools to deal with it. Maybe it's stepping away from the charts for 10 minutes. Maybe it's journaling your trades to spot patterns in your behavior. Whatever it is, find what works and do it consistently. The more you practice staying calm under pressure, the less power fear has over you. This is where new traders fall apart. They think trading is about picking the right currency pair or nailing the perfect entry. Nah, it's about showing up day after day and not letting your emotions derail you. That's the grind. That's what makes a trader reliable, and that's what keeps you from spiraling into despair when a trade goes south. Fear doesn't just make your heart race, it messes with your head. Every time you hesitate to enter a trade, cut a winner too early, or cling to a losing position, that's fear pulling the strings. It's not just about losing money. It's about what that loss represents: failure, embarrassment, the sinking realization that you might not have what it takes. That's the real gut punch. And it's why fear can turn a solid setup into a disaster faster than you can say, margin call. But here's the flip side. Fear can sharpen your focus. It forces you to double-check your analysis, to question whether you're risking too much or chasing a bad trade. The trick is knowing when fear is helping you and when it's sabotaging you. When it's helping, it's like a coach pushing you to be better. When it's sabotaging, it's a bully kicking you while you're down. The difference comes down to control. Control starts with awareness. You need to recognize when fear is creeping into your decisions. Are you skipping a trade because the setup's shaky, or because you're scared of another loss? Are you holding on to a losing position because your analysis says it'll turn, or because you're too afraid to admit you were wrong? These are the questions that separate amateurs from pros. Pros feel the fear, but they don't let it cloud their judgment. They stick to the plan, no matter how loud that voice in their head is screaming, "Let's hammer this home." Because it's critical. Trading small is your secret weapon against fear. When you're risking pocket change instead of your rent money, the emotional stakes drop. You're not lying awake at night wondering if you'll have to explain to your spouse why the savings account's empty. You're not panicking when the market swings against you. You're just trading, and that's the whole point: getting to a place where you can execute your plan without your emotions screaming in your ear. Small stakes don't just protect your capital, they protect your confidence. Every trade is a chance to practice, to test your system, to build the muscle memory of discipline. You're not trying to hit home runs, you're trying to stay in the game. The profits will come, but only if you survive the learning curve. And trust me, that curve is brutal. If you're betting big from day one, low leverage is part of this equation. High leverage is like playing with fire: one wrong move, and your account's toast. A 1% move in the market can wipe you out if you're over-leveraged. Low leverage gives you room to breathe. It lets you take a hit without feeling like you're one trade away from ruin. That breathing room is what keeps fear from turning into panic. It's not glamorous, but it's effective. And in trading, effective is all that matters. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Set a stop loss on every single trade, no exceptions. A stop loss isn't just a tool, it's a commitment to yourself. It's you saying, I'm in control, not the market, and definitely not my fear. By setting a stop loss, you're defining your risk before you even enter the trade. You're telling fear, you don't get to decide how much I lose. Here's how it works. In practice, you analyze the market, pick your entry, and decide where the trade no longer makes sense. That's your stop loss level. Set it, lock it, and walk away. Don't fiddle with it when the market starts moving. Don't push it further out, because you're sure the trade will turn around. That's fear talking. And fear lies. The market doesn't care about your hopes or your hunches. It moves. And you either respect your plan or you pay the price. Stop losses also force you to think like a strategist, not a gambler. You have to consider volatility, support and resistance levels, and your risk-to-reward ratio. That process alone makes you a better trader. It's not just about limiting losses, it's about building the habit of making deliberate, calculated decisions. Every time you set a stop loss and stick to it, you're training your brain to prioritize discipline over emotion. That's the foundation of long-term success. A trading system isn't optional, it's mandatory. Without one, you're just guessing. And guessing in Forex is a one-way ticket to a blown account. A system gives you structure. It's a set of rules that tell you exactly what to do in any given situation. Patterns to trade, entry signals, exit signals, risk management. It's all laid out. No ambiguity. No room for fear to sneak in and whisper, maybe you should skip this one. Your system doesn't have to be fancy. It could be as simple as trading a specific candlestick pattern at a key support level with a fixed risk-to-reward ratio. What matters is that it's clear, tested, and followed. When you have a system, you're not making decisions in the heat of the moment. You're executing a plan. That's a game changer, because fear thrives on uncertainty. A system eliminates uncertainty. It's your North Star when the market's throwing curveballs. But here's where most traders screw up. They don't stick to their system. They see a losing streak, panic, and start tweaking things or jumping to a new strategy. That's fear taking the wheel. A system only works if you trust it, and trust comes from testing. Backtest your system. Forward test it. Demo. Trade it until you know it inside out. Once you're confident in it, follow it like your life depends on it. Because in trading, itkindados. Let's cut to the chase. Trading is a mind game. You can nail your technical analysis, have a bulletproof system, and still crash and burn if your emotions are running wild. Fear doesn't just make you cautious, it makes you irrational. You'll chase losses, skip trades, or overtrade because you're desperate to make it back. That's not trading. That's self-destruction. Controlling your emotions starts with self-awareness. You need to know your triggers. Does a losing trade make you want to double down? Does a winning streak make you feel invincible? These are the moments when fear and its cousin, greed, take over. The fix isn't to stop feeling, it's to have a process that keeps you grounded. One way to do this is to build routines outside of trading. Step away from the charts after a loss. Take a walk. Hit the gym. Do something to clear your head. Another way is to keep a trading journal, not just for your trades, but for your emotions. Write down how you felt before, during, and after each trade. Over time, you'll spot patterns. Maybe you're more likely to panic after a string of losses. Maybe you get cocky after a win. Knowing your patterns gives you power over them. The goal isn't to eliminate fear. It's to make sure it doesn't derail your plan. Every time you stick to your system, honor your stop loss, or walk away from a bad trade, you're winning the emotional battle. That's what builds consistency. That's what makes you a trader, not a gambler. Fear doesn't just hit you once and vanish. It's a cycle. Every trade you take feeds back into your psyche, amplifying or dampening that fear based on what happens next. Win a trade, fear might quiet down, but it's still there, whispering about the next one. Lose a trade, fear roars louder, making you question your system, your skills, maybe even why you started trading in the first place. This feedback loop is where fear either becomes your ally or your executioner. Here's how it works. Every decision you make in the market is a data point. A win reinforces confidence, but too many wins can make you cocky, lowering your guard. A loss stings, but it can also make you sharper, forcing you to refine your approach. The problem is when fear distorts this feedback, a single bad trade can spiral into paranoia, where you're too scared to pull the trigger on a perfect setup, or a string of wins can make you think you're untouchable, leading to reckless bets. Both are fear in disguise. One's rooted in doubt, the other in overconfidence. Breaking this cycle means treating every trade as an isolated event. Win or lose, you stick to your system. You don't let a loss make you gun-shy, or a win make you sloppy. This sounds simple, but it's brutal in practice because fear thrives on momentum. One bad day can feel like the end of the world if you let it. The fix: zoom out. Focus on the long game. A single trade doesn't define you. A week of losses doesn't mean you're a failure. Consistency, not perfection, is what keeps fear from hijacking your progress. Trading small isn't just a beginner's trick. It's a mindset. It's about prioritizing survival over ego. When you trade small, you're not just protecting your account, you're giving yourself permission to learn without the pressure of catastrophic losses. Every trade becomes an experiment, a chance to test your system and your discipline without betting the farm. That's where the real growth happens. Let's break it down. Small stakes mean you're risking a fraction of your account, say 1% or less per trade. This keeps losses manageable, but more importantly, it keeps fear manageable. When you know a loss won't ruin you, you can focus on the process, analyzing the chart, sticking to your entry rules, honoring your stop loss. Each trade is a rep in the gym, building the muscle of discipline. Over time, those reps add up to confidence, not the fake, I'm invincible kind, but the quiet certainty that you can handle whatever the market throws at you. Low leverage is the other half of this equation. High leverage is like driving a Ferrari with no brakes. One wrong move, and you're done. Low leverage gives you control. A market swing might dent your account, but it won't obliterate it. That control is what lets you stay calm when fear starts creeping in. You're not praying for the market to turn in your favor. You're executing a plan. And plans, not prayers, are what make traders. If you're still not sold on stop losses, let's get one thing straight. They're not optional. They're the difference between trading and throwing dice. A stop loss is your promise to yourself that you won't let fear or hope turn a small loss into a disaster. It's the ultimate act of discipline, and it's non-negotiable. Setting a stop loss forces you to think ahead. You're not just picking a random number, you're analyzing the market, considering volatility, and deciding where your trade idea is invalidated. That process alone makes you a better trader because it demands clarity. You can't set a stop loss if you don't know why you're in the trade in the first place. It's a reality check that keeps you grounded, but the real magic of stop losses is psychological. When you know your risk is capped, fear loses its grip. You're not staring at the screen, heart pounding, wondering how deep the loss will go. You've already decided. That certainty lets you focus on what's in front of you, the chart, the setup, the next move, and when the trade hits your stop loss, you move on. No second guessing, no chasing the market. No revenge trading. You take the loss, load, and keep going. That's how you build resilience. A trading system is your lifeline in the chaos of the market. It's not just a set of rules, it's a framework that keeps fear from derailing you. Without a system, you're at the mercy of your emotions, second-guessing every move, chasing every shiny new idea. With a system, you have clarity. You know exactly what to look for, when to act, and when to walk away. Your system should be specific. What patterns do you trade? What confirms your entry? What's your risk-to-reward ratio? How do you manage trades? These aren't suggestions, they're requirements. A vague system is no system at all. It's like trying to build a house with a sketch on a napkin. You need a blueprint, and you need to follow it. The power of a system lies in its ability to neutralize fear. When the market's whipping around and your stomach's in knots, your system is the voice saying, "This is the plan. Execute." It's not about being right every time. It's about being consistent. Losses will happen. Bad days will happen. But if you're following a tested system, those losses are just part of the math, not a reason to panic. Trust the system, not your gut. Your gut's a liar. Especially when fear's in the driver's seat. Trading is a psychological gauntlet. Fear, greed, hope, they're all waiting to trip you up. The traders who make it aren't the ones with the best indicators or the fanciest charts. They're the ones who can keep their head when the market's screaming at them to lose it. Emotional discipline isn't a talent. It's a skill. And like any skill, it's built through practice. Start by identifying your weak spots. Do you panic after a loss and start overtrading? Do you get jittery before a big trade and skip it altogether? These are your fear triggers, and you need to know them like the back of your hand. Once you know what sets you off, you can build guardrails. Maybe it's a rule to stop trading after 2 losses in a row. Maybe it's a pre-trade checklist to make sure you're calm and focused. Whatever it is, make it part of your routine. Journaling is a game changer here. Don't just track your trades. Track your mindset. Write down what you were feeling when you entered a trade, how you reacted to a win or loss, what you could have done better. over time, you'll see patterns. You'll spot the moments when fear took over and what it cost you. That awareness is the first step to control. The more you understand your own head, the less power fear has to throw you off course. Fear doesn't just mess with one trade. It creeps into your habits, quietly rewriting how you approach the market. Every time you skip a valid setup because you're scared, or chase a loss because you're desperate, you're not just making a one-off mistake. You're building a habit, and bad habits in trading don't just cost you money, they cost you your edge. Here's the deal. Your brain loves patterns. When fear drives your decisions, say, hesitating on entries or moving stop losses, it starts to feel normal. You don't even realize you're doing it until your account's bleeding and you're wondering what went wrong. The scary part, these habits form fast. One panic trade can lead to another, then another, until you're stuck in a cycle of reacting instead of executing. That's fear's long game, and it's brutal. The fix is to replace fear-driven habits with disciplined ones. This starts with intentionality. Every trade, every decision has to align with your plan. If you catch yourself hesitating because of fear, pause. Ask yourself, is this a real red flag, or is fear making me flinch? If it's the latter, stick to your system. Each time you override fear and follow your rules, you're rewiring your brain. You're building habits that make discipline second nature. It's not sexy, but it's how you go from being a slave to fear to being its master. Trading small isn't just about protecting your account. It's about building a foundation you can trust. When you keep your position sizes tiny and your leverage low, you're creating a low-pressure environment to hone your skills. It's like learning to drive in an empty parking lot before hitting the highway. You get to make mistakes, test your system, and learn the market's rhythms without the fear of a catastrophic blow-up. This approach does two things. First, it keeps fear at bay. When you're risking 1% of your account instead of 10, a loss doesn't feel like a punch to the gut. You can analyze it objectively, figure out what went wrong, and move on. Second, it builds confidence through repetition. Every trade you execute according to your plan, win or lose, is a step toward trusting yourself. That trust is what lets you take trades without second-guessing, even when fear's whispering in your ear. Low leverage is non-negotiable here. High leverage amplifies everything: gains, losses, and fear. A small price move can wipe you out if you're over-leveraged, turning every trade into a high-stakes gamble. Low leverage keeps the stakes manageable. It lets you focus on the process: entries, exits, risk management without the constant dread of a margin call. Over time, this process becomes your anchor, the thing you lean on when fear tries to throw you off. If you're not setting stop losses, you're not trading, you're praying. A stop loss is your line in the sand, the point where you say, this trade's done, and I'm out. It's not just about limiting losses, it's about taking control. When you set a stop loss, you're telling fear, you don't get to decide how this ends. That's power, and it's the kind of power that keeps you sane in the market. Setting a stop loss requires you to think like a strategist. You're not just picking a number, you're analyzing the market's structure. Where's the nearest support or resistance? How much volatility is normal for this pair? What's your risk-to-reward ratio? These questions force you to be deliberate, to have a reason for every decision. That's the opposite of fear-driven trading, where you're reacting to every tick like a deer in headlights. The biggest mistake traders make with stop losses is moving them. The market gets close, fear kicks in, and suddenly you're nudging that stop loss further out, hoping for a miracle. Spoiler: miracle don't existe en forex. Moving your stop loss is like tearing up your game plan because you're scared of losing. It's a betrayal of your own discipline. Set your stop loss, lock it in, and let the market do what it does. If it hits, you take the loss and move on. That's how you build the mental toughness to trade through fear. A trading system is your lifeline when fear's trying to drown you. It's a set of rules that cuts through the noise, giving you clarity when your emotions are screaming at you to run or fight. Without a system, you're just guessing, and guessing in Forex is a death sentence. With a system, you have a plan, and a plan is what keeps fear from turning you into a reckless mess. Your system needs to be crystal clear. What setups do you trade? What confirms your entry? When do you exit? How much do you risk? These aren't optional details. They're the scaffolding that holds your trading together. A good system isn't about catching every move in the market. It's about giving you consistency, a way to make decisions without fear clouding your judgment. The key to a system is trust, and trust comes from testing. You can't just pick a strategy off the internet and expect it to save you. Backtest it, demo, trade it, tweak it until it fits your style and the market you're trading. Once you've got a system you believe in, follow it like it's gospel. No deviations. No, this time's different. Fear will tempt you to break the rules, don't. Your system is your shield, and every time you stick to it, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than your fear. Let's be real. Trading is a psychological war. The market doesn't care about your skills or your dreams. It's designed to test your mind. Fear is the biggest weapon in its arsenal, and if you don't learn to counter it, you're done. Emotional mastery isn't about never feeling fear. It's about feeling it and acting anyway, sticking to your plan no matter how loud your brain's screaming. This starts with self-awareness. You need to know how fear shows up for you. Does it make you freeze? Skipping trades that fit your system? Does it push you to overtrade? Chasing losses to fix things? These are your weak spots, and you can't fix them if you don't see them. Keep a journal, not just of your trades, but of your emotions. Write down what you felt when you entered a trade, how you reacted to a loss, what you were thinking when you skipped a setup. Patterns will emerge, and those patterns are your roadmap to control. Routines are another weapon here. Build habits that keep you grounded. Maybe it's a 5-minute break after a loss to clear your head. Maybe it's a pre-trade ritual to make sure you're focused. Whatever it is, make it consistent. Consistency is what turns emotional control into a habit, and habits are what carry you through when fear's at its worst. The goal isn't to be fearless, it's to be unflappable. To show up, do the work, and not let fear knock you off course. Fear isn't just a hurdle to clear, it's a signal, a spark that can push you to be better. Most traders see fear as a problem, something to get over. That's the wrong play. Fear's a built-in alarm system, wired into your brain to keep you from screwing yourself. The trick is learning to listen to it without letting it take control. When you do that, fear stops being a roadblock and starts being a catalyst. Think about it. Fear forces you to pause. It makes you double-check your analysis, rethink your risk, or question whether you're chasing a bad trade. That's not weakness. That's your brain doing its job. The problem comes when you let fear override your plan, turning caution into paralysis or panic. The solution: train yourself to see fear as a prompt, not a command. When you feel that knot in your stomach, don't freeze. Run through your checklist. Is my setup valid? Is my risk defined? Am I following my system? If the answers check out, act. Fear's just reminding you the stakes are real. Use it to stay sharp, not to back down. This mindset shift takes practice. You're not going to wake up one day and magically handle fear. It's a muscle you build. Trade by trade, every time you feel fear and still execute your plan, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching yourself that fear doesn't get to call the shots. Over time, that becomes your default. Fear doesn't disappear. It just becomes a tool, like your charts or your trading platform. That's when you start trading with clarity, no matter how wild the market gets. Trading small isn't a temporary fix. It's a philosophy. It's about playing the long game, prioritizing growth over greed. When you keep your position sizes tight and your leverage low, you're not just managing risk, you're managing fear. Small stakes let you trade without the constant dread of a blown account. They give you the freedom to focus on the process, not the outcome. That's where the real wins are made. Here's why this matters. Trading small builds consistency. Every trade you take, win or lose, is a chance to refine your system, test your discipline, and learn the market's quirks. You're not swinging for the fences. You're stacking small, deliberate wins. Those wins add up, not just in your account but in your confidence. You start to trust your process, because you've seen it work, even through losses. That trust is what lets you face fear head-on, knowing you've got a plan that holds up. Low leverage is your backbone here. High leverage is a trap. It turns small market moves into massive swings in your account, amplifying fear with every tick. Low leverage keeps things steady. A loss might sting, but it won't gut you. That stability lets you stay in the game, trade after trade, building the skills and mindset you need to scale up later. For now, forget the big bets. Focus on staying alive and getting better. That's how you outlast the amateurs who let fear push them into reckless trades. If you're not using stop losses, you're not a trader, you're a dreamer. A stop loss is your stake in the ground, the point where you say, "This is my risk, and I'm done." It's not just about protecting your capital, it's about protecting your mind. When you know your loss is capped, fear doesn't have the same chokehold. You can watch the market move without feeling like your entire future's on the line. That's freedom. And it's what lets you trade with precision. Setting a stop loss is an exercise in clarity. You're forced to analyze the market volatility, key levels, your risk to reward ratio, and make a deliberate choice. That process alone makes you a better trader, because it demands you have a reason for every move. No guesswork. No, I'll figure it out later. You're in or you're out. And your stop loss is the line that keeps you honest. The biggest trap is messing with your stop loss. Once it's set, the market gets close. Fear kicks in, and suddenly, you're tempted to slide it further out. Hoping for a turnaround? Don't. That's fear lying to you, telling you this trade's different, that you can outsmart the market. You can't. Stick to your stop loss like it's a blood oath. If it gets hit, you take the loss, learn from it, and move on. That's not failure. That's discipline. And discipline is what keeps you in the game when fear's trying to knock you out. A trading system isn't just a tool, it's your fortress. It's the structure that holds you together when fear's banging at the gates. Without a system, you're exposed, making decisions on the fly, letting fear and hope dictate your moves. With a system, you've got rules clear, tested, non-negotiable rules that tell you exactly what to do. No matter how loud fear's screaming, your system needs to be bulletproof. It should cover every angle, the setups you trade, your entry and exit signals, your risk management, your trade management. No ambiguity. No wiggle room. Ambiguity is where fear thrives, whispering, maybe this isn't a good trade, or maybe you should hold on a bit longer. A good system shuts that noise down. It says, this is the plan. Follow it. And you do. Building a system takes work. You need to test it, backtest, forward test, demo trade until you know it's solid. Then you need to trust it. That's the hard part, because fear will tempt you to second guess. A losing streak will make you think your system's broken. A missed opportunity will make you want to chase. Don't trust your system like you trust gravity. It's not perfect, but it's your best shot at consistency. And consistency is what turns fear from a threat into a signal you can use. Trading is a mental marathon, and fear is the hill you keep running into. The traders who make it aren't the ones with the most wins. They're the ones who can take a hit and keep moving. Emotional discipline is your armor in this fight. It's not about never feeling fear. It's about feeling it and still doing what needs to be done. This starts with knowing yourself. Fear hits everyone differently. Maybe it makes you hesitate, skipping trades that fit your system. Maybe it makes you reckless, piling into trades to make back a loss. Whatever it is, you need to spot it. Keep a journal not just of your trades, but of your headspace. Write down what you felt before a trade, how you reacted to a win or loss, what you could have done differently. Those notes are your map to understanding your triggers. Routines are your anchor. Build habits that keep you steady. Maybe it's a quick meditation before you trade. Maybe it's a rule to walk away after a loss. Whatever works, make it non-negotiable. These routines aren't just coping mechanisms. They're training. They're teaching you to stay calm when fear's at its peak. The more you practice, the stronger you get. Eventually, fear becomes just another part of the job, not a monster you have to slay. Fear in Forex isn't your enemy. It's your proving ground. It's the fire that tests your discipline, your system. You resolve by trading small, locking in stop losses, following a system, and mastering your emotions. You're not just surviving fear. You're thriving in it. You're turning it into a signal that keeps you sharp. A reminder that every trade is a chance to prove you've got what it takes. This isn't about being fearless. It's about being unbreakable. You've got the tools now. Small stakes to build confidence. Stop losses to control risk. A system to guide you. Emotional discipline to keep you grounded. Use them. Practice them. Make them part of who you are as a trader. The market doesn't care about your feelings, but it respects your discipline. Show up, do the work, and let fear be the fuel that drives you to get better every day. Call to action. Asterisk. If this no BS breakdown hit home, smash that subscribe button and share this video. We're cutting through the trading hype, giving you real, actionable tools to dominate the market. No fake promises. Just straight talk. Join the crew, and let's keep building